stutter because I met a lad who had a worse stutter than me, and he taught me a technique of tapping out. Like, you can do it on a desk or anything. So there's a particular... He's been one of the guests on the podcast, in fact. There's a particular comedian whose name I can never say, and it's Dylan Moran. And I've always had a problem with that one for some reason. Yeah. But this guy just taught me, if I tap the syllables out on my arm, I can comfortably say Dylan Moran all day long. But without that, I can't. And how crazy is that the brain works in that way? Again, things like that, I instantly, as soon as I learnt it, the next morning, the podcast, I look a mess because I was just up that next morning. A YouTube video, because I was like, I just need to record this and put this online because it's fascinating. How weird is the brain, rather than any
do you get
shame over it.
Sort of saying, "Oh, I watched the King's Speech, and they said, play music in your ears, and then you can say all of this, and you'll be cured." I
mean, I get all of these things. I held off on the King's Speech until it came out on DVD because I was like, it's too much of a cliche to walk up and order a ticket with a stutter.
Showing off.
I can't do it. I can't do it, so I held off. But I mean, I always remember when they had the Educating Britain thing, and there was the
Yorkshire,
and that young lad, and everyone had sent me this link, and I was like, mate, I don't want this. And then I watched it, and I teared up the same as everyone teared up. I was like, come on, I don't. Oh, all right, it's obvious that everyone's tweeting this link to me, and then I watched it and said it was absolutely amazing and beautiful. But again, there's the variations of levels of a stutter, and I always remember when I worked in HMV. There was a guy who had a strong stutter who had always come to me to be served, and I felt more self-conscious stuttering in front of him because my stutter wasn't as bad as his. So I kind of felt bad that I was like, man, I feel like I've kind of got a stutter, but he was literally every word physically shaking at times and things like that, and I was like, I feel bad if I'm stuttering a little bit because I feel like.
I know I have empathy in that, if I'm going down the street and I see another short person, there's about 20 things that go through your head, as in, do we just be cool and there's not an issue, and why should we? Or am I, well, at least I should smile, but then why am I doing this? And then it just goes on and on and on. It's
bizarre, isn't it?
And you're kind of overcompensating for something.
Yeah, completely. And I would stutter so much more when talking to him, and not on purpose, but through the nerves of like, oh God, it just made me more conscious of it.
Do you find that people... sort of, maybe on your podcast or in real life in quotation marks, do they when they talk to you, do people talk more slowly? Do they sort of imitate your speech patterns a bit, or do you think people just don't really notice?
I think they probably notice, but I think because I don't make that much of a deal of it, like on the podcast every now and then, there was a few intros.
We are a little bit of a deal.
On a few of the intros, I'll talk about it. If I stutter a lot, and I always remember. Like, again, I generally don't have any issue with it. And then the first, I think it was one with DJ Yoda, I was uploading it, and we do a thing, we put the podcast on another site as well called Acast, where you can tag links. And I was doing all that upload and tagging, and it kept crashing. So I had to listen to the intro 6 times in a row, and there was a few points I really stuttered. And that was the first time in years that it's kind of got to me, because listening back is a different thing. Being there and doing it, I always remember as a kid, the first time it really... got to me emotionally was I got home one day and I'd rung home to tell my mum I was going to be late, and in my mind I'd rung home and quickly told my mum I was going to be late. I got home and there was no one there, and I pressed play on the answer machine, and it was like a 3-minute message of me stumbling over the words and getting it out, and that was one that was like, damn, I didn't in the moment. So again, I'm probably just unaware of how it is in general conversation, but listening back, it's why I don't listen back too much, because it's like, again, I don't get stressed over it, but I do kind of go, oh, come on, just get on with it.